Hey everyone, it is Friday, October 16th. The time is 10:17 a.m. and the temperature is 7 degrees Celsius. I'm currently walking west on Front Street in downtown Toronto, just in front of Union Station. And the plan for this one is to head on over to York Street, where I'll walk north up to Queen Street. Then I think I'll head over to University Avenue and take that up to Dundas Street West. And then I'll walk east through the Little Tokyo area over to the Eaton Centre. There's the Fairmont Royal York Hotel, just on the north side of the street there. And this is actually my second attempt at recording this walk this morning. I had originally started it from the subway, and right when I got to this intersection the first time around, my camera decided to turn itself off. Here's an early morning supercar sighting. I'm not sure what that was all about, so I just turned it off for a few minutes and started it up again, and it seems to be working so far. I did record a walk through the rain yesterday, but it wasn't raining very hard and the camera didn't get wet, so I don't think that was the culprit. There's a look south down York Street. That will continue down to Lake Ontario. And here York Street sort of forks. On the left side you have University Avenue, and that'll run north. And on this side we have York Street. I'm actually heading up to the Samsung store at the Eaton Centre, which I don't think opens until 11 a.m. as I have a new phone ordered that should be available today. So I'm kind of bringing you along with me as I go to pick it up. Of course, I could have taken a much more efficient route. But since I have a little time to kill and no video to post so far for tomorrow, I thought it might be a good idea to try recording this. I'm sure those bikes didn't look like that when they were originally parked there. So in case you're wondering, we are in the financial district right now, although it is a little after rush hour. This is still nothing like what it would normally be if there were no pandemic. There's a look east down Wellington Street. This is certainly one of the cooler mornings I can remember us having in quite a while. You often hear people refer to mornings like this as being crisp. There's a 504 King Street streetcar heading east, and there's another one right behind it. Typically, these streetcars would be jam-packed. In fact, they created a transit priority along King Street, or a transit priority corridor along King Street, just to improve the capacity on the King Street streetcar, as a lot of people rely on that to come into the city who work in the financial district. And it's often overcrowded, and people that live in places such as Liberty Village would have to wait several streetcars before they can squish themselves onto one, but those days seem to be a long ways away again. I'm curious to know if the TTC has reduced capacity in a cost savings measures, because I just saw several streetcars when I looked down that all seem to be almost bumper to bumper. Then again, maybe the idea is they don't want to have people not be able to practice physical distancing, so maybe that's why they've kept the frequency as per normal. That certainly seems to be the case with the subway. I haven't noticed any reduction in service at all, even though the crowds are much lighter, but again, that's probably a good thing. And this is Adelaide Street, which is a one-way street, which the traffic runs eastbound. It also features a bike lane. You get a pretty good look at a lot of the prominent towers in the financial district. Drake minibar. I've never even seen that before. Or if I have, I wasn't paying attention. I wonder if that's any relation to the singer. And is that an Alfa Romeo? It's a very squat looking car. It's kind of neat.
They haven't put together.
So the next street is Richmond, and then after that, York Street comes to an end at Osgoode Hall on Queen Street West. The city of Toronto was originally known as the town of York. I thought it might be worth bringing that up since I am on York Street, and that was from 1793 to 1834, and then City Council voted to go with the name Toronto in 1834, and then in 1954 the area was named Metropolitan Toronto, and then in 1998 they formed the megacity by joining together the former boroughs of East York, Scarborough, Etobicoke, Toronto, and North York. And that's where things are today. We are still very much a megacity. And it's kind of interesting to have one mayor sort of in charge of such a large swath of land with so many varied interests, especially since a lot of the outer regions, well, that Jeep was not slowing down. And the Eaton Centre is just over there, as well as Old City Hall and New City Hall in Nathan Phillips Square, but I'm going to take a bit of a detour since we have some time. But as I was saying, there's a lot of more suburban, I guess, car-oriented interests in the outer regions of Toronto, which sort of inherently comes into conflict with a lot of the people that live towards the center of the city, who more rely on the subway and other forms of transit. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I think that's one of the greatest failures of the city of Toronto, is not building out its transit system more. For instance, along this street here, Queen Street, or King Street, a few blocks to the south, there really ought to have been a subway line built. It's really kind of amazing that we don't have a southern east to west line. That's primarily the reason why the streetcar lines here are so overcrowded. There's a look south down University Avenue. This is sort of known as the western edge of the financial district. University is really the city's only true grand boulevard style street. A lot of big parades and events come down this way. When the Raptors won the championship, they came down through here. It's also where you'll find a lot of protests making their way up to Queen's Park, which is the provincial legislative assembly, which is straight ahead. Speaking of protests, hey, we had a Toronto Walkman sighting. I've seen pictures of him roaming the streets of Toronto, but I don't think I've caught him in a video yet, so that's kind of cool. So that is the U.S. Embassy just up ahead there on the left. It's just to the north of here. University becomes known as Hospital Row, as there's a number of major hospitals in the city on either side. You can cut through this way and head through Nathan Phillips Square over to the Eaton Centre. In fact, a walk which will be going up on the Johnny Stumbles channel, which is my other channel where I post videos that I don't particularly want to post on the main channel. A walk that started right here where there was a protest on University will be going live. And actually, That walk heads up to Dundas and then through Little Tokyo to the Eaton Centre. So the route on that one is pretty much exactly the same as the one I'm following right now, but not many people will see that one. It was also at a different time of day. And funnily enough, on that walk, I was making my way to the Samsung store to reserve this phone. And now I'm recording the same route as I go to pick it up. That wasn't very well thought out by me now, was it? Although I do think on a weekday morning the city has a very different vibe to how these streets feel at any other time. It's worth noting that this part of University Avenue does have dedicated bike lanes, as you can see, so there's really absolutely no excuse for an adult to ride their bike on the sidewalk. I'm not sure if these were voted in as permanent yet. Usually what happens is the city pilots new bike lanes before they eventually make a decision to finalize them. So I don't think these ones are yet, but hopefully they don't go away. It's a rather worthwhile addition. Now, if only we could do something about the rampant bike theft in the city, as I highly doubt this person removed their back wheel when locking up their bike. More likely someone stole them. Look how rusty that chain is. And just up ahead is Dundas Street West. So I could turn left here and take this to the Art Gallery of Ontario and then through Chinatown. There's a look at St. Patrick or subway station. And just to be a little different than the previous video I posted on the other channel, or I guess will be posting very soon. Once I get to these next lights, I'll walk on the north side of Dundas Street. There's really nothing going on over there now. In fact, it looks like some kind of renovation is going to happen to this building. I'll have to look that up. It's not a building I would expect to be demolished. Perhaps they'll be building on top of it, much like that building over there. That's an extension that they've added to the base of the original building and recladded the whole thing in glass. Actually, it looks pretty well done. And this is the area known as Little Tokyo, which ironically is the original Chinatown area before that moved down west to Dundas and Spadina. And although this area is known as Little Tokyo, there's certainly no shortage of Korean and Taiwanese and Chinese shops. And Vietnamese too, of course. There's a look at the 505 Dundas streetcar. And that to the south there is the backside of City Hall and the Sheraton Hotel just behind it. Unfortunately, these places won't be open for dine-in service anytime soon, as the province has suspended that activity in the city, which is a shame, as this place is quite fun. Don Izakaya. And I think I have a bit of time, so maybe rather than continue on west straight to Yonge Street here, I'll loop around a bit. I'll head north up Bay Street, and then I'll walk over to Yonge Street. I'll find a street to head east along. Maybe I'll just walk north for a block or two here. That was Uncle Tetsu's Japanese cheesecake. And this is the bus terminal. And if I'm not mistaken, this coach terminal will be relocated down next to Union Station. Be easy there. Cars really don't like to stop completely behind the line, do they? They always gotta try to freak you out. I say cars as if they're some kind of sentient being that drives themselves. Really, I mean the driver, of course. This is Elm Street. Maybe I'll go one more block north to Gerrard. Elm Street looks like there's a bit of construction going on anyways. No traffic to speak of in either direction. Someone will complain about that in the comments, I'm sure. Yep, I'm sure she had to block the crosswalk there. Just another day walking around Toronto, I guess. So I will head east on Gerrard here. Gerrard Street begins just to the west of there. And you can take this all the way east through downtown and across the Don River and through East Chinatown and the little Indian neighborhood. That would be College Park just to the north here. Normally these videos aren't just me mindlessly wandering around killing time. I usually try to pick a route and try to do a point A to point B style walk and catch some interesting things along the way. And if this new phone checks out, I think I'll be live streaming later tonight. Of course, you will already know that by now if I did or not. There's a very large tower of 74 stories proposed for this spot. And there's another very large tower going up just across the street here, where the big slice used to be located. So there's a look north up Yonge Street. The glare seems to be pretty strong on this side. I'll safely cross over to the other side to hopefully reduce that a bit. We'll exchange the glare from the sun for some walking in the shadows.
Best dispensary right here.
Thank you. It's kind of strange to see people legally soliciting you to purchase weed. Times have certainly changed. This is the Ryerson University Student Center on the left here. That's a look in towards the Ryerson campus. There's a big line at what looks to be the Jordan store. Maybe there's some new shoe drop in today. I'm out of the loop on that stuff. Hopefully there's no lineup at the Samsung store and I'm the only nerd. Coming here to pick up a new phone on the day it releases in Canada. And I think it was actually a slightly better deal if you ordered it online, but I'd rather go pick it up in person than have to deal with trying not to miss a package from FedEx. Even though I'm home, every time FedEx tries to bring me something, they always say I wasn't home. And then they say I can go pick it up at some depot in the middle of nowhere. Whereas every other delivery company has a spot within a few minutes walking distance from where I live, but not FedEx. They ship it out to Timbuktu and tell you to go pick it up, so I'm not very fond of ordering things that get shipped through them. There's a look at Dundas Square in the morning. Here's a look at the Samsung store. Okay, I've got my mask on. So there's a small lineup of people. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this walk. There are links to my Instagram and Patreon in the description, as well as channel memberships available on the main page. I will catch you on the next one.